त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री महालक्ष्मी त्वमेव सरस्वती श्री महालक्ष्मी त्वमेव साक्षरस्मिता श्री साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति श्री साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति श्री साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कल्की साक्षात् श्री सहस्रार स्वामिनी मोक्ष प्रदायिनी माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः।
Well, good evening, everybody. If you're in this part of the world, coming to you from Perth, Western Australia, and wherever you may be, welcome to this Learn to Meditate with Sahaja Yoga meditation session. My name is Richard, and I haven't been online for a while, so nice to see everybody there. And tonight we're going to just recap on perhaps what you've already done if you've joined us before, but if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. And Sahaja Yoga meditation, has to be said, is a very simple, natural and organic process. Within us, we have an energy system that can be very clearly understood and then used, I suppose, to give us the benefits that come from what the founder of Sahaja Yoga, Shri Mataji described as thoughtless awareness. So these days, meditation is talked about a lot. It can mean different things to different people, but traditionally, meditation happens when this energy within us, this kundalini, rises up from the base of our spine, out through the top of our head, clearing and balancing as it goes, and connects the individual to this all-pervading power of nature, of creation, that sustains us and that we're a part of, whether we like it or not. And unfortunately, if we're not connected with it, then we're very limited and we're exposing ourselves to really kind of, it's like a drop that's separated from the ocean. It's very vulnerable, but once that drop becomes part of the ocean, then it becomes the ocean and it's infinitely more powerful and resilient and marvelous, I suppose, than when it's just a little single drop. Although a single drop can be very, very special as well. But when those drops all join together, then something very special happens. So we're going to go through an introduction to Sahaja Yoga meditation with the founder of Sahaja Yoga shortly. But tonight I wanted to do something special because those of you who have been joining us regularly may appreciate just how wonderful it is to have somebody in the background who's organising all the technical side of things. And so tonight I'd like to introduce Dimitri Mitya to his friends. So Mitya is our technical guy who's in the background every time you join us. He's making sure that things go as smoothly as possible. And when they don't go smoothly, then we all recognise that that's because that's the way they're meant to go. And we always focus on the present moment, and so we kind of enjoy the challenge in a way. But just to make it as seamless as possible, Mitya is always there. So Mitya, are you there? Can you bring yourself in?
Yes.
Howdy.
Can you hear me, Richard?
Say again?
Do you hear me well? Yeah.
We hear you very well.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
and
hello everyone.
And not only do we hear you, we see you as well. So Mitya's, as I said, Mitya's used to being behind the scenes, and so tonight I've asked him to come on and join us. And Mitya has been practicing Sahaja Yoga for a long time, and maybe not as long as me, for example, but then he's much younger than me. In fact, maybe you won't mind, Mitya, if I just give you a bit of an introduction and say that quite recently, in the last sort of year or two, Mitya has just had his first child with his wife, and they've gone off and left him for the time being. They're traveling overseas, I guess, after all the restrictions have been lifted.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so Mitch's wife has been able to travel back to her home country a little while. So Mitch, just tell us a little bit about yourself, if you wouldn't mind.
Of course, I would. Yeah, so yeah, it's very lovely to present a little bit in this program. And I've been practicing Sahaja Yoga for perhaps about 8 years or so. And yeah, it has been absolutely tremendous thing for me. Changed all the aspects of my life for the better, always for the better. And it doesn't stop to change and to evolve us. So the more we practice, or even watching these programs, for example, from the background and seeing the people who have practiced it for much longer than me, have quite a variety of experiences. It's absolutely amazing to take it on board and slowly learn more and become. And through these 8 years of whatever practice, it was different times. I started being a student, a PhD student, and that helped me through my PhD. Then I continued already as a walking person, and the Sahaja Yoga helps me basically everywhere. And the more I found it enters into the life, the more we implement these teachings of Shri Mataji, and we meditate regularly, and we imbibe the knowledge, and we become a little bit more spiritually evolved, the more it helps us through our lives in all sorts of aspects of life that I found. That's why even children can do it. It will be better with health, with school, and so on, university, work, family relations. society, and so on. So yeah, that's what I have been learning through my whatever 8 years of experience, and yeah, that's where I am now, and this Sahaja Yoga going to continue it.
That's
And
great.
learn more.
And you're in the fortunate position that your wife, Neha, also is practicing Sahaja Yoga,
That's right.
maybe roughly as long as yourself, but really the as we'll sort of touch on tonight, the time that we spend doing it is not really that important, because depending on the individual, you can progress very quickly, especially these days. I mean, when I started 30 years ago, the general feeling I got was that as time went on, people can, start doing Sahaja Yoga and very quickly can make a lot of progress. So, and if you're doing it together with other people, if you have people in your family or you have friends who are doing it, or if you don't, then if you can come together like we are now and, do it individually and then do it collectively, then like any natural process, that really can make a big difference as well. And Mitya has a very interesting story of how he started in Sahaja Yoga. And I won't ask you to go into all the details, but I know Mitch has told me the story a few times. You were traveling at the time, and is it fair to say, Mitya, that Sahaja Yoga found you as much as you found Sahaja Yoga?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. As we go in Sahaja Yoga, it's so multifaceted. But yeah, like we learned from Shri Mataji, actually, apart from if we deal with a real guru, a genuine guru, a true guru, who has this ability of being actually a guru, not just some crook who makes money and so on, then actually you cannot purchase. You cannot force yourself onto this kind of a guru. Only guru or the teacher who knows more, they choose. And it works in a much subtler way. Yes, it's Sahaja Yoga. Because many people, can get realization, but they often don't, they do not realize what they found is that gold which they've been looking for, so they can go astray. But if you find, there's a point that the guru actually chooses a student, a disciple, and that's how Sahaja Yoga basically found me. It was just a set of different events, a sequence of events, fairly randomly just brought me to get my self-realization and then continue growing into it. Yes.
Indeed. And I mean, my sort of situation was similar in a way that it was only when I moved actually from Perth to Sydney in Australia, and within a few months of arriving there, suddenly, I was, looking for a place to live, looking for a new job and everything like that. And then it's in that situation where things are fluid and moving that often you become more open. You become more open to things. And I'm sure if we, asked other people who participate in this session, they would have similar stories to tell us about how our seeking takes us in all different directions. But really it's when we open up, when our situation perhaps makes us more open than normal, that's when we can really discover the gold as you quite rightly describe it, Mitya. So the other thing too is that as we evolve and as time goes on, we get our self-realization, but also it's important to understand that the process is quite simple. There are many things we can do to fine-tune our self-realization, but the actual essence of Sahaja Yoga is very simple. And very quickly, we become empowered. We become empowered to clear our own chakras, to make our own connection with this all-pervading power, but also to to receive that, having received that, our self-realization, we can actually give self-realization to other people. And it's a big step along the way, because once you start doing that, it's like anything. When you find that you start explaining or teaching something that you've learned to somebody else, it really reinforces your own understanding and experience. So, so we just want to also touch on that tonight, and we're going to watch a video of an international, I suppose you'd say, Indian classical musician who actually is American, Stephen Day. We're going to watch a video of Stephen Day, who was in Australia recently. He plays the sarod, which is an Indian classical instrument. He's been doing that for many, many years. I first met him about 20 years ago. And he's going to just give a perspective of, when he's traveling around the world, how Sahaja Yoga meditation has helped him with his music, but also enabled him to use his music to spread the experience of self-realization through music. And then we'll get to listen to Steve playing some of his Indian classical music on the sarod as well. So just before we go through this process of self-realization with the founder of Sahaja Yoga, Shri Mataji, if you've done this, if you've joined us before, then you would have done something similar already. In this particular instance, Shri Mataji gives a very abridged or simple way of doing this. But I just wanted to point out that when we do our meditation by ourselves, we use an exercise which we call raising the Kundalini and giving ourselves a bandhan. And our Kundalini, our energy, responds to what we do with our hands. We express our desire through our hands. And so we can actually move this energy with our hands, as well as putting our hand on the various energy centers and affirming the qualities of those chakras. But once you've had your self-realization, you can literally be talking to somebody. Like, for example, I could be talking to Mitya, and if they have a desire, if that person, if it's a friend or somebody in your family, and they have a desire to get their self-realization, whether they're aware of it or not, and you can usually tell on the vibration. So if something is cool, literally, if you feel that something is cool on your hands, then usually that suggests that that it's possible and it's good, and it can happen. So you could, for example, somebody asked you about Sahaja Yoga, you could just say to them, well, just hold your hands up like this, and maybe we'll just all do it now. And just ask yourself, am I the spirit? And is there a power within me, that will make me what I really am, which is the spirit? And can that power also be shared with others? So just asking a question like that opens the door to reality and to the truth. You may start to feel like a cool breeze on your hands. And then if you put your hand above your head and you invite somebody else to do that as well, then it may be that they feel a cool breeze coming out from their head. Because once you engage in reality and in the truth, the Kundalini responds and comes up. And so you can feel it and somebody else can feel it as well. And so it can be as simple as that. you can actually give self-realization to another person. And, you know, as we often say, if you don't feel cool straight away, that's fine, because once the Kundalini kicks into action, then it starts to clear things along the way. So we'd encourage you to explore that, definitely to do the meditation yourself whenever you can, and also to not hesitate to share what you have with other people whenever possible. It's a win-win, because obviously the other person gets the benefit of their self-realization, but it also is a great way to establish your own self-realization. So let's go to the first of a few videos that we have tonight, where Shri Mataji, the founder of Sahaja Yoga Meditation, takes us through the simple process that we can enjoy and that we can then ultimately share with other people as well. And then we'll come back and we'll continue with some meditation, and then we'll watch a couple of videos where Stephen Day elaborates on some of the things that we've been touching on so far. So thanks for joining us, Mitya, in person.
It's a pleasure. Yes.
Mitya again will come back later on as well. Okay?
Yeah.
The most important thing is to get the experience of self-realization. So the first thing is to get connected to this all-pervading power. This is extremely simple, which you cannot achieve by reading, by studying, or by doing anything. It is not a mental act, but it's a living happening. Please close your eyes. So now raise your right hand on the left hand side on your heart. And here you have to say with full confidence again, Mother, I am the pure spirit. Mother, I am the pure spirit. I have told you that this all-pervading power is the ocean of knowledge, ocean of compassion, ocean of bliss. But above all, it is the ocean of forgiveness, and whatever mistakes you have committed can be easily dissolved by it. So please forgive yourself and put your right hand at the corner of your neck and your shoulder and turn your head to your right. Here you have to say, Mother, I am not guilty at all. Please say this. Mother, I am not guilty at all. Whether you forgive or you don't forgive, you don't do anything. But if you don't forgive, then you play into wrong hands. Here, now you put your right hand on top of your forehead and put it down. From your heart you have to say, Mother, I forgive everyone. And don't think about the people whom you have to forgive. Just say, Mother, I forgive everyone in general. Don't think about them. Please forgive me if I have done anything wrong, knowingly or unknowingly. Say it from your heart. Stretch your palm fully and put it the center of your palm on the fontanelle bone area, which was a soft bone in your childhood. Now press back your fingers as far as possible. And with the pressure, move your scalp. Move it clockwise slowly. Now here, again, I cannot force self-realization on you. You have to ask for it. So move your hand so that you move the scalp well with a pressure, saying 7 times, Mother, please give me self-realization. Mother, please give me self-realization. Now take down your hands, put both the hands towards me like this. Like that.
So now let's just continue in our meditative state, and we can just keep our hands palm upwards on our lap, like so, and keeping the attention there on top of our head, where we ask for our self-realization, where we ask to establish our self-realization. And we're just going to sit like this for a few minutes now. Allowing ourselves to be free of any thoughts. It's our Kundalini which comes up and puts us into thoughtless awareness. As the mind settles and becomes still, become more aware of the reality of the present. Excuse me. So what we hear, for example, more aware of our own breathing, more aware of what we feel, but it's all very subtle. All these subtle things that quite often we're oblivious to because we're so absorbed thinking either about the past or the future or both, jumping from one to the other. As our Kundalini stills the mind, become more aware of the subtleties of reality. Our connection with the earth, through the soles of our feet on the floor or the ground, through the seat of the chair. We're sitting on a chair. Our own gravity pressing us into the earth. What we feel on our hands. Is there a coolness there? Is one hand a bit cooler, a bit lighter than the other? If so, then that's our Kundalini telling us something about the state of our subtle system. If one hand is cooler and lighter than the other, then a corresponding channel may be clearer than the other. So if the right hand is quite cool and light, maybe the left hand not so much. That's simply our subtle energy system telling us that our own Kundalini is working away on clearing that less cool side. And as we said before, at any time we can always just put our hand above our head and just see how strong that cool breeze-like sensation of our own Kundalini is. So we really get to know ourselves, not mentally, but in reality. And when it's all said and done, we feel the bliss of our own spirit in the heart, that tender, light feeling of bliss that is our true nature. It's that nature of the spirit, which is what we really are, our real essence. If any thoughts do arise, as they will, we don't try and stop them. We just simply let them pass, not engage with them, knowing that our Kundalini will clear them out. We can just spend more time in thoughtless awareness. So now as we continue, we're going to just keep our attention resting above our head, because ultimately whatever we may do, wherever we may be, we want to stay connected. So those few minutes or time that we spend doing meditation is really just the beginning. We want to try and keep that connected, balanced state with us all the time. So we're going to now just watch a bit of a talk from Stephen Day, who is a musician who travels around the world. And Stephen's going to just tell us about his experience of Sahaja Yoga meditation and how it helps him with his music and his music career, but also how he can use the music as a vehicle to spread self-realization through Sahaja Yoga meditation. Then after that, we're going to listen to a lovely piece, a piece of classical Indian music. For those who have a fondness for Indian classical music, this will be Rag Bhairavi, played by Stephen Day. And then after that, we're going to watch a short talk from Shri Mataji on the topic of don't waste your energy. So Sahaja, the word Sahaja actually means literally born with you. And the whole practice of meditation should be effortless. And quite often we're used to making things complicated and overly structured and so on. But in fact, like any natural process, Sahaja Yoga meditation needs to be effortless. So that'll be the topic of that short talk. And then afterwards, we'll come back and we'll continue with our meditation together. So enjoy.
So this raga, this piece of music, the notes that we've tuned to are aligned to the morning. It's called Bhairavi. And they create a, like I say, they match the mood. Raga is usually pretty long, 15 minutes to 45 minutes or even longer, and it has various parts and movements like a symphony does. But the main thing to understand about a raga is it's like a mood or a color or a set of colors that create a mood, and many of them are connected to the time of day. So there's, for instance, a special raga for midnight, a midnight raga, that you would ideally play at midnight because it would then have, it would sort of have the power of that time of day. There's a kind of a majesty of the night. If you're out around midnight, there's a certain majesty to that that's already existing in nature. The stars, the deep dark, darkness of the sky. And it's quiet in a kind of a different way than it's quiet in the morning. And that is matched by certain notes that a raga will, you'll be playing a raga in certain notes. Now, a raga, it's not like jazz where you can, vary the notes and come in and out of a scale. This would be a set or fixed set of notes that would work to create that mood. And then in general, you wouldn't be going off into different other note patterns, although you can include sometimes a little bit of improvisation into other areas. But that, in essence, is a raga. It's a kind of a way of tuning in to the great power of what's there in nature, whether it be the early morning silence or whether it be midnight or whatever is happening in nature. Sometimes it will be the time of season in India, the monsoon season, or spring, or something like that as well. So there are different ragas for different occasions, different times of day, and they're very powerful ways of connecting to one's own inner being as well as nature itself. The rhythm comes in and we join together with a melody that you'll recognize. horse traders and various moguls brought it into India through North India, and then they adapted it and created the Sarod as we know it today. But before going to India, I experienced something called Sahaja Yoga. It's a meditation, very simple meditation that doesn't cost money, that I discovered in college. Actually, I was seeking some kind of experiences. I was looking into, I took a course called Altered States of Consciousness, believe it or not. So it was a survey course of all kinds of different things that, tried to understand, how to move objects with your mind, or, everything from Jungian psychology to Buddhism and Vedic scriptures. And so at the end of that course, I was quite down because I didn't find what I was looking for, that joy of the spirit, in the books and all of those studies of all of those great and different types of pursuits. Some of them legendary and old and well documented, like Buddhism, and others were a little bit more new agey, but none of it really gave me the feeling. So at that moment I saw a poster for a program called Sahaja Yoga, and I gave it a call, and I gave it a try, and I amazingly started to feel what they described. Not right away, but I felt what they described, which is a living energy, a vibration, on my fingertips, in the palm of my hand, and in my body. I could start to feel my chakras, there are 7 of them, come alive, as well as an energy called the Kundalini, which is ancient, that rose up through my subtle system and then out the top of my head, which is the 7th chakra, the Sahasrara, or crown chakra. And I couldn't deny it. I could feel it. Again, it took me a little while. I did practice it. I didn't just try it once and then forget about it. I practiced it at home for a couple weeks, and then I could undeniably feel this energy on my fingertips. So I took to it, being at the ripe old age of 21. Whatever was inspiring, I didn't hold back. So I took to it, and I started to learn about India, because this is a lot of ancient knowledge that has been known for many thousands of years in India, and ultimately then traveled to India, and at that point started to listen to Indian classical music. And it was like the soundtrack of my seeking at that point. So my seeking shifted from being kind of like in a dark room, not really knowing, and fumbling around and trying this and trying that, to having sort of a room that I could see everything in. And then I felt like there was a new frontier. The new frontier was really not outside of me, but inside of me. And the best accompaniment for that new part of my journey was Indian classical music. Because it was tradition actually of many great storytellers, and also ancient saints and sages who did actually travel throughout the world to really connect with people and talk about this great experience. And this has been happening for thousands of years. If you look at the life of Buddha, for instance, he would sit down under the banyan tree and have many people around him because he renounced the material ways, palace, and many great things, riches, in order to follow this path. Well, the question is why? And then the answer is, well, in the path that you find out why, you find your own truth. And so Guru Nanak was also a person, and he also played an instrument. So I found it very interesting to go back and realize that this is not a new thing for people, not only to take an instrument or to sing or to write stories and tell stories, but to do it about something that is not traditional, not material, not commercial. So this doesn't, in a sense, it kind of befuddles the commercial market, because really music is, what is music for? I mean, there's music to sell Pepsi, there's music for nightclubs, there's music to get people to jump up and down and exercise, but there's also music to allow people to hear the story of their own truth, to hear the story of the life of spiritual path. I call it Namaste, because Namaste is the light in me bows to the light in you. And in your path, you'll find your way. This raga, this piece of music, the notes that we've tuned to are aligned to the morning. It's called Bhairavi. And they create a, like I said, they match the mood.
But what I mean that wherever you can save your energy of thinking, you should. For small, small things, there is no need to have for varieties. And this country, as I've told you before, that every tap has to be different, every handle is to be different, every tile has to be different. What is the need? What has to be different is artistic things. Sari has to be different because it is artistic. But what is in a stitching of a blouse? There's no art in it involved. So whatever is artistic can be different, but whatever is mundane need not. In the machinery, why should you have different types of things? You go mad. You go to a shop, there are 20 types of things. You don't know which one to buy. All made by machine only. This is good, that is good. Then another fellow, he comes, he says, not good. Then you feel hurt. But if you have for mundane things, few things is better, that you do not take too many headaches upon yourself. So best thing to avoid all these problems is to use your new awareness of vibrations. So you save your energies. Your energies must be saved. And they can be saved if you do not pay attention to things which are not your style, where you don't have to go. Just see vibrations. If I go for shopping, I go shopping for various reasons, as you know. One is to put my vibrations there. Another is to put also vibrations on the people who are in the market. Thirdly is to look at all the things so my vibrations go on to them. Fourthly, to buy something to be given to others. But if I like something, it is only through vibrations and I buy it somehow. Because it is to be given to someone or something has to be done later. I just buy it, keep it, it comes very handy. That is how your attitude should be. But on the contrary, if you just go on, I like this, I don't like it, about your wife, about your jobs, your everything, you will be uncertain. These days in America, people are very funny about their jobs also. I have to touch these points because you will face this problem. Today they are doing some job, I don't like it. I don't like my boss, another job. Then they go to another job, they change it. Then third job, change it. They like to change, all the time. It's maddening, I tell you. Change their wives, change their house, change everything. Why? Have only one wife is better. At the most, have 2 jobs in life is better. And at the most, change 3 residences is better. But more than that is a headache. I mean, to me, I have changed 40 houses because of my husband's temperament. But I am different. Because I am absolutely a person who is not bothered, whatever change comes. But you are not the same, so don't waste your energy. So this is very important to understand. Not to go on changing jobs is very important. Because that is also a craze, I tell you. I'll tell you about Douglas. He used to do that. Every time he had financial problem because he was changing jobs. So one day I told him off. I said, Douglas, if you change this job, because I saw the vibrations are all right, if you change this job, that you are not going to see me again. And now, today, he has got a house, he's got a car, he's got money in the bank, he's doing well. So that also is a headache for me. Whether I have no job, I have no money. What am I doing? So now we must understand we must have proper jobs. We have to be respectable people. We must have proper qualifications. If possible, better to get some qualifications. You are all very intelligent people and you can get your qualifications. You should have a respectability in the society. Otherwise they'll think that this mother is the mother of all the beggars. So steady yourself. In your jobs, in your houses, to steady yourself, you must learn not to change. The change makes you unsteady. Do you see the point? So there is no question of changing. I am going to go through it. Then, if it is necessary, if it is not workable, then one can change.
Now let's just spend a few minutes in silence and close our eyes. And imbibe the vibrations from Shri Mataji's talk, the music, and use those vibrations to put us into and keep us in thoughtless awareness. So some of us may have been searching for a long time for ourselves and for our self-realization. And now that we've found it, we can just put that searching aside and enjoy it, and look for opportunities to share it with others. At some point, the searching stops and the sharing begins. So the journey continues, but in a different vein. So now I'd like to finish by inviting Mitya back to join us. And we're going to raise our Kundalini, do this exercise where we use our hands to raise our Kundalini, give ourselves a bandhan. So for those that haven't done it before, what we do is we rotate our right hand around the left hand, like so. And we start right from the bottom of the spine, and we follow with our attention. Hands come up, and then we tie a knot above our head. We do this 3 times because we have 3 major energy channels within us. Exactly the same, coming up, right hand rotating around the left. And then the second time we tie 2 knots above our head. This will help to establish our attention there. Then a third time, again, right from the bottom, coming up, following with our attention. And then the third time we tie 3 knots. And this literally raises this energy up and helps us to maintain it above our head. And then the second part, we give ourselves a bandhan or band of protection by bringing our right hand over to our left elbow, and then we sweep our right hand across the top of our head down the other side. Very simple, very smooth, and then back in reverse. And we do this 7 times because we have these 7 energy centers within us. And then we can just bring our hands together in the center to help keep us in the center, to help us stay connected even as we go through the rest of the day or the night. So, thanks to Mitya.
Yep, thank you for the program. Yes, it was very nice, and all the videos and things, and we got an insight about the classical Indian music, which is a very deep music.
Indeed, and we got an insight into the man behind the scenes, Mitya, who's there every time, and we don't always, we hardly ever see him. We just see the wonderful effects of bringing everything together here on Zoom, and then putting us out onto YouTube as well. So we just like to finish by saying thanks to everybody who's joined us today on Zoom or who watch this on YouTube. And just to remind you that if you'd like to, we'd like to encourage you, in fact, to look at the website for Sahaja Yoga meditation. I think, Mitya, you might just run us through that.
Yeah.
And you showed us earlier how wherever you may be in the world, Sahaja Yoga is there in some form or other. And it may well be that you can also find out and go along to an in-person meditation session if there happens to be something in your local area. So just show us how we can do that, Mitya.
Yep. So, so we often refer to the freemeditation.com.au website, which is an Australian website for Sahaja Yoga. So, apart from giving Australian content, it of course references all the other international things. So, from the homepage, where we have start with the very basics of Sahaja Yoga, what we can find is this two ways we do Sahaja Yoga these days. Some online ways, which are in the streaming tab here, and you can access different types of courses, which can be live or can be pre-recorded videos as well. So right now we are doing things as a part of Learn to Meditate course, which we already showed a number of times that you can access it through Zoom, join via YouTube, watch previous recordings, and it's not only done from Perth, there's another session run by Canberra every Monday. There's an option to join WhatsApp group, and of course there's also the wealth of resources, numerous different resources which help us to kick off Sahaja Yoga journey and sustain us through it quite a bit throughout the entire journey. And so this is all online things. Apart from that, there are in-person classes which we find are very important to attend as well, like a local collectives wherever you may be. It's quite beneficial to start coming there and meditating with people in person and learning from other people and from Shri Mataji's talks, which are often played there. So, and to see how the Sahaja Yoga is not just a meditation 2 times a day, 10 minutes. It doesn't end there at all. And how this Sahaja Yoga should permeate into the actual day-to-day lives. That's the entire beauty of the transformation of the humankind. And then, so you can attend those classes in Australia, but of course, not only in Australia, there's for worldwide classes, and wherever you may be, you may find relevant places, venues, or websites of numerous countries where Sahaja Yoga is practiced, and there are so many around the world, and it's developing, uniting people, and uniting them across any conditionings. It crosses any borders of the mind, of the different ideas of race, nationalities, that all sorts of mental ideas slowly subside, and it unites people across all the artificial borders. And it actually works further and deepens the meditation experience of the people. So people from all over the world practice it, and can find some information about international classes from this website. So I think that's about it for the website, I'd say.
Thanks very much, Mitya. That's awesome. And yeah, please do have a look and go further and deeper. So, Mitya, thanks once again for joining us as such, and thanks to everybody who's joined us tonight, and tune in again next Monday when we come to you again with learning to meditate with Sahaja Yoga meditation. So thanks very much.
Thank you, everyone. Yes, please keep it up. Yes.
Thanks, Mitya. Bye for now.
Bye. Actually, we have some outro music.
Yeah, please continue to listen to a little bit more music if you'd like to, and Namaskar.